It's IBC 2023 and I'm here in Hall 8 on the Shure stand, and I'm here speaking to Tuomo. Hi, Tuomo.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, very good. Been a good show?
Yeah, incredibly good. Super busy.
Does feel like
nice
it's back
to
to
see.
normal a
It's
bit,
been
isn't it?
rammed, and
Yeah.
it feels like it's probably the most normal time, generally speaking, we've had probably in about 3 years.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
It's great.
So you're gonna hopefully give us a bit of a rundown of the Plex range of lav mics.
Yeah, so
From Shure.
It started out with TwinPlex some years ago. We've been adding a couple of additional ranges, and I'll explain that. But we refer to it as a Plex family. So it's made out of 3 sort of core groups of lavaliers. We have UniPlex, we have DuraPlex, and we have TwinPlex. So the reason for Plex, and it's actually easy to think about the entire line sort of in 2s. So if I start with TwinPlex, the Twin refers to these lavaliers as having a dual diaphragm design, and the Plex, the reason it's the Plex family refers to the cable, and I'll explain a little bit why that cable is unique. But if we start out with TwinPlex, this is sort of top tier of the line. This is aimed at professional broadcast, location sound, theater applications, where quality as well as durability are super important. There's they're omnidirectional lavaliers. There's both lavs and headsets, and then you have your sort of selection of what do you want it to be in terms of sensitivity. But generally speaking, there are 2 cable options. There's the ultra thin 1.1 millimeter cable, then the sort of standard cable thickness of 1.6 millimeters. But as I said, the Twin refers to dual diaphragm, so performance of the microphone incredibly good in terms of not only audio capture, but it eliminates things like cable noise, which I think you've heard that often as a lavalier. The cables run through the clothing and you rub on it, or even if you just take your fingers and rub the cable, you can hear it. So it virtually eliminates that, and that's where the Twin comes from.
Right.
Then if I explain the Plex really quickly, and that's what's uniform across the whole range, is cables. I guess it sounds a bit boring, right, when you talk about a cable and you try and make it exciting, but cables are typically always the first thing that breaks in a lavalier, because it takes abuse. You pull it out.
Unless you tread on them.
And the way people coil them, and you've seen lavaliers after heavy use, they have the little kinks in them, and ultimately it breaks. So what's unique about Plex is the way the cable is constructed. First off, the material. We spent several years looking for the right type of cable material. I ended up actually finding this cable from the medical industry. And again, it makes sense because cable sort of durability is pretty important, in that sector. So you can feel, if you sort of feel the material, it feels unique. You'll notice that as they're coiled and run, they don't really take any sort of
retain that memory. They haven't got a
Exactly. They're not going to kink. But what's unique about them is it runs a dual redundant ground, and it's the ground that always breaks first, and that's when the cable goes. So the only way to really break these microphones is if you end up breaking the ground exactly in the same spot twice. So huge for broadcast theater applications, of course, durability. So that Plex is what's uniform across the whole range as you go into DuraPlex and UniPlex ultimately.
And of course, there's some very durable. You've got sort of, out in the desert, almost waterproof range as well.
And that's where DuraPlex comes in again. So the cable is the same, exactly the same cable as used in TwinPlex. The microphone element is different, called DuraPlex. I've got one here. So you'll see cable's the same, microphone element is different. The name, as it kind of obviously implies, this is intended for harsh applications. This is fully waterproof. So TV shows where somebody falls into a pool, or you're shooting a film in a desert, you're going to get sand and dust. I mean, nothing's indestructible. You can pretty much break anything, but it's going to take a serious beating to destroy this. But again, the only difference here is the microphone itself. The cable is the same that's used in TwinPlex.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, if anyone's going to break anything, it's going to be talent on a reality show.
Absolutely.
There you go.
The last sort of bit of the range are the UniPlex microphones. Again, cable, I don't need to explain to you. We've already done it. But what's different about this, it is a MEMS microphone, but as the name implies, these are directional microphones rather than omnidirectional microphones. So literally for those applications where you're trying to just limit a little bit of that unwanted noise, that's where UniPlex comes in. So
fantastic.
That's the Plex range.
Thank you very much, Tuomo.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to do another couple of videos on the stand, find out some more ranges that we're going to discuss what else is going on the stand. If you're at IBC and you managed to catch this video, you can come over to Hall 8. Sure, pretty easy to find. And for everything else that we're doing at IBC, it's kitplus.com.